Four men went to a football match in the summer of 1942. They knew what was at stake. They played anyway. September 1941. The German army entered Kyiv. It took them 3 months to reach the city. It took them 1 day to take it. What followed was not a military occupation. It was a dismantling. Food disappeared. Movement was restricted. Executions happened in the streets and in the ravines outside the city. Babi Yar, 2 miles from the center, where over 30,000 people were killed in 2 days in the last week of September alone. For the people who remained in Kyiv, survival was the only available ambition. Among those people were the players of Dynamo Kyiv. Before the war, they were the most celebrated athletes in Ukraine, professionals, men whose names filled stadiums. Now they worked in bread factory number 3. The factory manager, a Ukrainian named Georgy Svyridovsky, hired them deliberately. The work gave them cover, it gave them rations, it kept them alive. Their names: Nikolai Trusev, goalkeeper, the best in the Soviet League the year before the war came; Ivan Kuzmenko, forward; Alexei Klimenko, defender; Nikolai Korovin, midfielder. Men who had played in front of tens of thousands, now measuring flour in a city that had forgotten what normal felt like. The Germans permitted football. It served their purposes. A city where people were watching matches was a city that looked, from a distance, like a city at peace. So the players organized. They registered a team under the name FC Start. They found a pitch. They found a kit. They began to play. What the Germans did not account for was how good they were. FC Start entered the Occupation League in the summer of 1942. They beat a Hungarian military side, then a Romanian side, then a Slovak garrison team. Then they beat German military clubs. The scores were not close. The occupation authorities had invited football as propaganda, proof that life under German control was orderly, even pleasant. FC Start was becoming a problem. Every match they won was a crowd of Ukrainian civilians watching their countrymen beat the occupying army's teams on a football pitch in broad daylight. On August 9, 1942, FC Start was scheduled to play Flakelf, a Luftwaffe team, the strongest German military side in the region. What happened before the match depends on the account. Some survivors recalled a direct warning, an SS officer entering the locker room before kickoff, telling the players that losing would be the wise outcome. Others remembered only the atmosphere, the weight of what the match had already become before a ball was kicked. What is not disputed is what happened next. Before the match, both teams lined up on the pitch. The Flakelf players raised their arms in the Hitler salute. FC Start did not. They stood with their arms at their sides. Then they raised their right hands, not in the Nazi salute, but in the Soviet sporting gesture, and shouted, "Fizkultura." In the stands, the Ukrainian civilians who had come to watch understood exactly what they were seeing. The match was not a symbol, it was football. FC Start played the way professionals play, with shape, with discipline, with the specific intelligence that years of training builds into the body even when the body is underfed and the city around it is under occupation.
Trusevic in goal was extraordinary. Save after save, not heroic theater, professional execution, the kind of goalkeeping that makes the other team feel that the net is closed. Flakelf grew more physical as the game went on. The fouls were not subtle. FC Start did not retaliate. They kept playing their football. Full time. FC Start 5, Flakelf 3. There was no celebration, no arms in the air, no running toward the crowd. The players stood on the pitch in the August heat and understood, with the particular clarity that comes after you have done something that cannot be undone, what the scoreline meant. They had won. They had refused to lose. Now they waited to find out what that cost. The arrests came within days. The charges were familiar in occupied Kyiv, vague, administrative, impossible to challenge. Prior connections to the NKVD, alleged partisan activity. 4 players were taken: Nikolai Trusevich, Ivan Kuzmenko, Alexei Klemenko, Nikolai Korovin. They were transported to Syrets concentration camp on the outskirts of the city. The street they were taken from was empty when they left. One window above its curtain was parted. Someone saw. No one could help. What happened inside Syrets is documented. Kuzmenko, Klemenko, and Korovin were executed in late August and September 1942. Trusevich, the goalkeeper who had made saves that August afternoon that no one watching would forget, died in the camp in February 1943. He was 35 years old. Kyiv was liberated in November 1943. The survivors told the story, but for decades the full story was complicated. The Soviet Union did not know how to honor men who had continued to live and work under German occupation, even men who had died resisting it. The narrative did not fit cleanly into the approved history of the war. It took years, decades, for the truth to surface completely. Eventually, a monument was erected outside the Dynamo Kyiv stadium, the 4 names carved into the stone. Today, the stadium still stands. Matches are still played inside it. The monument stands in front of the entrance where every supporter passes it on the way in. Most of them know the story. Some of them leave things at the base of the stone. Flowers, scarves, sometimes a football. FC Start, Kyiv, 1942. They were asked to lose. They refused. Remember their names.